panelists. May now request Mrs. Aruna Vasudev, filmmaker, India, Mr. Pauy Kim Theo, founder, Buddhist Film Festival, Singapore, Mr. Jayantha Chandrasiri, Soyanno Film, Sri Lanka, Venerable Thichnat, to eminent filmmaker, Vietnam. Excuse me. And Mr. Aspi Mistry, the moderator for this session, to come up. None here. I now hand over the proceedings to Mr. Aspi Mistry, the moderator. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. After the musical performances, especially Madhushri's, this will be a tough act to follow. I don't know how we are going to manage captivating the audience after such a performance. Well, the theme is mobilizing Asian Buddhist filmmakers, and each speaker to do a 5-10 minute presentation, followed by a roundtable type discussion. I doubt if we will have time for that, on mapping a plan of action to make Asian Buddhist filmmakers more visible in the region's media, film circuits, and film festivals. Without much ado, I would invite Ms. Aruna Vasudev, who is described as editor, author, festival organizer, and founder of the Inner Path Festival of Buddhism in Delhi. And I know she's passionate about films and Buddhism. So over to you, Ms. Aruna. If you'd like to say a few more words about yourself, please go ahead.
No, I'm not going to talk about myself, except to say that, see, my interest had always been in cinema, that's true, right from the beginning. And I did start a festival of Asian cinema, the first time ever anywhere in the world. So it included all of Asia. But I had always been very attracted towards Buddhism, which is not there in my family, but it was something that I just felt very drawn towards. And many years ago, I was among the first group of Indians taken to teachings by His Holiness Dalai Lama 30 years ago. And it just stayed with me, although I didn't do anything about it. But then when I was doing film festivals on Asia, I got more and more involved in understanding Buddhism and following the path, which teachings by His Holiness. And then there was this big conference in Delhi in 2012. The big, I think it was the first big international Buddhist conference. Of course, I didn't go to it, but on the last day, His Holiness gave a talk at the India Habitat Center, and I did manage to get into that. And then I said, Suresh Jindal, who used to be a film producer, and he had dropped everything and become a fervent follower of Buddhism. And I went and talked to Suresh, and I said, Suresh, why don't we do a festival of Buddhist films? It's done. There are a few festivals like that in other parts of the world that I do know about, but there's nothing in India. And India is where Buddhism was born. And now it is really spreading. People are turning more and more towards it, but don't know how to follow, where to go, what to do. But they are interested. So let's start this festival. So we did, with support from Ashoka Mission, the IBC. Then I don't know if IBC then was there in 2013, but different government organizations. We did manage to get some money and did the first festival of Buddhism cinema in India in 2013. And uh, it was very well received by the small audience that came, because we didn't have the funds to spread the word and tell people it was happening, but it was in a big hall. And my idea was not just to show films, but also it was a more a cultural understanding. So we had a big art exhibition of Buddhist art, together with about 4 films a day. And once a day for 1.5 hours, we would have a talk. Some, either a great Buddhist master or a lay practitioner, who would talk about Buddhism and give the audience a chance to ask questions, to get to know what it is all about. And I must say the response was quite incredible. A lot of people came, a lot of people asked a lot of questions. We had Taisitu Rinpoche come, Keshi Damdul came every in different days and gave a talk. Shantam Seth was one of our first speakers. I don't know where he is now. Um, he gave a talk, and there were a lot of questions. People, the whole interest was spreading across India, and we were doing it in Delhi, still in a small way because of funding and spreading the word and getting a bigger hall and getting all that. But we did start it, and we did it for 4 years. Uh, Not last year, but the year before was the last one I did. But and the audience is huge. They couldn't get into the hall, but you don't get the funding for it. Now I feel, with the spread of Buddhism, with the interest in Buddhism, cinema is a very powerful means of communication. I've always felt that how do you carry this message to people who are interested but don't know where to go or how to do it? So I learned that there were festivals of Buddhism being held in different cities of the world, from Singapore and Hong Kong. With Singapore, we've also collaborated. Teo Swiling, I don't know if you know Swiling, a very old friend, and I told her I'm going to do this, and can you help? And we did collaborate a bit. She sent us some films. Um, with I know there was a festival in Hong Kong. There was a festival in San Francisco with this you know Gaetano in in San Francisco. He has this big foundation and he has a lot of films. We got films from there. We got people to come, a few people to come and present their films and talk about Buddhism. And the art exhibition attracted a lot of interest also, because there are great painters in India. That was only Indian artists we took, who were painting. Uh, I mean, we know about the great statues and the sculptures and the paintings of Buddhism in India. So we tried to show some of that. And I saw a lot of interest in among young people, but we were not able to continue it or expand it. My idea was to expand it in other cities in India also. But again, always the problem is still funding. And yet I feel in in the world as it is going today, in the direction in which it's moving, it is Buddhism that can bring us back to a world of compassion. The whole main teaching is compassion, and in this very violent world that we are all living in today, if we could only spread this message of compassion, that if people could be made to understand that if you're compassionate towards others, in the longer term, you will benefit from it. And this is the very basic teaching that you get, and but we need to spread it. And I do believe cinema is the most powerful means of spreading any kind of message, of introducing those who don't know to something they don't know and can learn from. It is such a powerful medium of expression that it is something that we should really take up. That IBC has always supported us. Many people have supported us, but we need to expand it in all across the country. I'm only talking about India. I'm not talking about other places in the world. But maybe where other places are doing it, we can do some collaboration, bring people together. The message of Buddhism in today's world, I think, is the most important message you can convey to people of anything that is it is what Buddhism teaches you. And I've actually seen the change in people who, when they turned to follow Buddhism, I've seen the change that has occurred in them. And I thought we must continue this. And cinema is the most powerful means of spreading this message. So I thought maybe now that we are here, then maybe we can talk about how we can collaborate a little more and get together to spread this message to other countries also. Because there are festivals, there are not many. At our last festival, there were people here who had come to Delhi from all over the world with teachings by Tai Situ Rinpoche. And now those teachings would end by 4 o'clock, and in the evening they would come to the festival. There were so many of them from all across the world. And there was people who would come to me from Mexico and said, "We want to do this festival in Mexico. Can you help us?" Now, how could we help them? We didn't have the resources, we didn't have the funds. I said, "We can give you films for some of which we paid a fee, and we can help you get it started." But what struck me really was that in places like Mexico and Latin America, where I know in Brazil, Buddhism is really spreading, there is a very deep interest in what Buddhism teaches you. And Buddhism, I follow it because it's not a religion, there's no God, but there is a philosophy, there is something that you can really believe in and which can change your life. And I feel very passionately that I wish we could do something to carry this message to more people so that we could change the violence that is overtaking us in this world today. I'm not going to say any more just now, although I have a lot. There are many ways in which you can do it. Uh, Film is the most powerful, but books, reading, getting together, talking. I have done started a series of books on great Indian Buddhist masters because we felt in India the great Indian Buddhist masters are not known to a large number of people, to highly educated people. I mentioned Padma Sambhav, and they said, "Who's that?" I said, "Nagarjuna." "Who's that?" "Highly educated people." I said, "Don't you know?" They said, "No." So then we started a series of books, two of which have come out. One is on Nagarjuna. It was launched by His Holiness. And one is on Padma Sambhav. They've been out for a while. I just wanted to show them. And more are coming. The next one coming shortly is on Atisha. But when you mention these names to highly educated Indian, they say, "Who's that?" So I feel India, my country, this is where it all started. Why don't we know? We must spread this message. We must get people to know because the philosophy that came from them, what they taught us, is so necessary for the world as it is evolving and developing, not developing, underdeveloping today. So I hope this conference will lead to some greater collaboration between all of us to see how we can spread this message and change this horrible world we are living in at the moment. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you. Uh, did your effort seems to have been a sort of a solo thing along with Surajji, and today we are trying to see how this can expand into
Yes,
something more
yes,
structured. You made reference to somebody who helped you from abroad. Was it the Buddhist Film Foundation that you're talking
it's
about in
it's
California?
yeah. He has a big.
There's Ellen Bruno, Richard
No,
Cohn.
no.
No?
I'm forgetting names. I'll just tell you his name. Oh, Gaetano. He's half Japanese.
Yes, Gitano. That's right. Kazuo Maida.
Yeah,
Gitano.
Yes.
he's
That's right.
the International Buddhist Film
Right.
Yes,
Festival.
So,
that's right.
IBFF.
And he has a huge collection of
Yes.
films from which I've taken
Right.
films for our festival. And he does a festival in San Francisco also. He's done it in Hong Kong as well,
Yes.
to which I went
Mhm.
1 year. But it was a one off festival, it was not an annual event. And I think there should be annual events. And if we can get together and do
so,
it,
so they are actually a non-profit in the US. It's a foundation. It's a trust. What we would call a trust over here. You can't call it a foundation. And perhaps maybe that is one way forward, where we can pool resources of everyone who is involved in filmmaking and media
yes,
here, because their mission has exhibition of film and video works, education, production, and preservation.
yes.
This is the aim of that foundation. And the other question I have for you is, how do you define Buddhist film? Because you see, in some years ago, there was a film called Dead Man, Jim Jarmusch's Dead Man, which one would just say perhaps it's a typical Hollywood film, but it was in the Buddhist Film Festival. And the questions that are raised is that, are Buddhist films only those movies that are explicitly concerned with the Dharma or with its teachers? Or is any narrative that teaches something important about suffering, impermanence, and awareness somehow a Buddhist film? Because with the latter definition, I could take almost any film and watch it from a Buddhist perspective, even a typical Hindi film. Because you want delusion, you have tons of it in that. How would you, in your curating of the films, how did you pick up Buddhist films?
Well, there are many films being made now about different aspects of Buddhism, not this kind of entertainment, but that do convey a message through stories of different kinds and are not necessarily set in a monastery or with monks and nuns, but normal people who follow a certain path, who follow a certain philosophy, which is the Buddhist philosophy. No, we will not take this kind of entertainment, no, because you don't need that. You need to there are films that are entertaining. This great Korean filmmaker whose films I've shown several times. um, uh, I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting names.
That one, spring, winter, autumn.
Autumn, winter, spring, summer.
Right.
I've shown it in normal film festival, and I've shown it in a Buddhist film festival, and people were so taken
It's
by
beautiful.
it. And it's not only about a monastery or monks or nuns, but about people who learn to follow a certain philosophy. And there are so many films like that. You can
Right.
even see in there's a Dutch lady, Babette van Loo, who lives in Amsterdam, who does a festival of Buddhism there. She's a filmmaker. We've taken her films, and and we've even had. We would always open with a performance. And this last year, we had Annie Choyang come, and she sang in the beginning. And then we had Kung Fu nuns come from Dharamsala who danced at the end. So we had all kinds of expressions of Buddhism to show people what you can become if you follow this philosophy, if you learn to follow the basic tenets of Buddhism. And the main thing, as His Holiness always says, is compassion. And if you're compassionate towards others, life will be compassionate with you. But you don't have to do it from a selfish point of view. You have to look at it to see how you can make the world a better place for all of us to live in. And I think Buddhism, the message of Buddhism is just that. And I want to convey it to people. through all forms of culture, art, talks, lectures, dance, music, and most of all, through cinema.
Thank you. We go to the next speaker. And the two speakers, please do address some of these questions if you have a different viewpoint. And I invite Mr. Pauy Kim Teo. He's the founder of the Buddhist Film Festival in Singapore. He's not a filmmaker nor a media person. He's a tourism guy, he says, who currently runs a Buddhist travel agency. Well, so Buddhist films and Buddhist travel agency. He's here today to share about a Buddhist film festival which is called THIS, THIS, a long-running Buddhist event in Singapore.
I think
Mr. Kim Teo.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? I
Yeah.
tend to be a bit soft. If you don't hear me, please let me know. Okay. I'm Pauy Kim. You can call me PK. I have been a Buddhist for about, I think, 20 over years. And I want to say that the Buddhist Film Festival found me, not that I found Buddhist Film Festival, because there's a long story. The reason why we have the Buddhist Film Festival in Singapore is we were inspired by the International Buddhist Film Festival that Madam Aruna mentioned. So it's a long story, but anyway, just cut short. So basically around 2007, we're looking for things to do to propagate the Dharma. And we found that there is a very successful Buddhist Film Festival. And I personally, I'm not really a film buff, but I have a very strong team. I have a very dedicated film curator. He's in charge of programming. And we have advisor, Ms. Teo Swee Ling. And there's a group of volunteers who support us throughout all the activities. And my job is mainly as an administrator and also as a face for the festival. So today, I'll share with you, because I was thinking, I want to, my purpose of my presentation is to actually encourage everyone to consider the possibility of a film festival in your country or in your city. And to get that, I want to share with you the main issues, not so much the philosophical side, but the actual operational issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run about 9 slides, and I'll share with you some of the problems that we face and also some of the joy of organizing a film festival. Okay, you can see here, these are the cover of the 5 festival. The yellow one, the gold one, is this year's festival. So you can see the evolution. The first one, it was in 2009. You can see it's very simple because we're really feeling our way around. And then 2012, we experiment with using one of the film as a cover. Didn't really work. And then 2014, the purple one, you can see we plaster all the films in front. And that was at my insistence. Okay, I was kind of overriding the marketing team, and finally they won. And then 2014, 2016, 2018 onwards, we actually have a uniform group. So what I'm trying to share here is that our festival is actually a work in progress. I did not start out having an idea, this is how it should be. We learn along the way, and similarly, do not be daunted. Well, if you were to start something, it will be difficult at the beginning, but you'll find your way along as well. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we started in 2009, and this year is our 5th edition, and this year we will have it in September 2018, and typically we sell about 7,000 tickets for each film festival. Okay, spread over 14 to 15 sessions, 7,000 tickets, and we will showcase about 16 movies. Okay, and the movies will come from all over the world. You can see here are pictures of the first festival. It was a mega success. It was so successful that I was shocked because I didn't expect so many people come. And some of the film society people came and they were wondering, where are these people? Where did they come from? You know. So actually, they are from the Buddhist community. We have a lot of support from the community, and we also get people who are interested in Buddhism to come for our event. And why do we do this? Because we have this idea that people will be attracted to the Dharma, will be interested in Buddhism, but they need to be convinced to give us a shot, to give us a try. And the normal temples, the normal society have their Dharma classes, their yoga classes, their meditation classes, and it's not working. So we want to reach out to these people to ask them, come watch a movie, spend 2 hours with us. And it's a non-temple, non-society ground, and hopefully they'll be inspired to learn more about Buddhism after that. So really, that was the whole idea. It's a marketing thing. And also in Singapore, I think suspect in some country as well, the first half of the year, we have a lot of Buddhist activity because it builds up to Visa. And then the second half of the year is just go all quiet. So we were very deliberate in choosing September because that is something. So after Visa, we try to get a sense of build up. We'll do our marketing after Visa so that there's a build up towards it, and the local community has something to look forward to in September. Okay, we are a volunteer-led and ground-up initiative. Okay, we are independent, and we are all volunteers. That means we are not paid. In fact, a lot of time we take our own money to get things going. And as what Madam Aruna said, funding is always something at the back of our mind. It's very stressful because I'm the chairman. So I have to, if anything goes wrong, I'll be the one to pick up the tab. So it is, but I'm very lucky really. Over the years, we really get a lot of support. Okay, so you can see here, I put up the pictures, the photos. These are the opening film for 2009, 2012, 2012. So you can see they are Chinese movies, and the middle one is a Thai film. Okay, these are really excellent movies. And you can see also here, the Samsara was the opening film for last round, and the purple or pink one is our opening film for this year. Flower and Sword is a Japanese movie. So you can see what I'm trying to show you is that we try to be very eclectic. We try to reach as wide range as possible. We don't want to be subject to certain country or certain culture or certain tradition. And Samsara was really amazing because if you really look at it, it's not really a Buddhist film. It's more, but it does touch on the idea of suffering and life, etc. So we chose it. And in the middle, the grid is actually all the 16 movies that we'll be screening this year. Okay, so I in terms of time, I just very quickly talk about 4 areas: fundraising, curation, marketing, and events operation. Okay, fundraising, usually the event will take about 100,000, 120,000 Singapore dollars to organize. Okay, it's quite a sizable event for a company that has no real income. And the major expenses are cinema rental because we are very focused. We want it to be professional. Okay, so we actually rent a cinema in the middle of the town. So it's in Orchard Road, which is the major downtown area in Singapore, and it's very expensive to rent. The cinema rental is about 40 to 45% of our expenses. And when every year, when we start planning, it's always, should we go somewhere cheaper? And the answer is always no. Why? Because we want it to be accessible to the non-Buddhists. We don't want it to be one corner of Singapore. So this is something. And the films, the movies, we need to get rights. Okay, we pay whatever it is to get rights. So all 16 movies, we pay them whatever rate that they ask for, as long as it's reasonable. And this is one reason why, in terms of curation, we face a problem, because Chinese movies tend to be very expensive. Chinese films tend to be very expensive. And then ticketing process, we actually engage, we outsource it because we think we'll die if we do it ourselves. So we engage a professional ticketing agent, and they actually sell tickets through them. And manpower, even though we're all free volunteers, we still need to pay the designer, we still need to pay the technicians, etc. So it's actually a one part. And of course, printing, we need to print our brochures, etc. So these are major costs. And we're always constantly thinking, how can we cut costs here, cut costs there? But at the end of the day, because there's only so much you can cut, so the budget has always been hovering around 100 to 120,000 Singapore dollars. That's about 80,000 to 100,000 US dollar. This is around that. Okay, we raise funds. Okay, I'm not sure it's very clear here. Okay, fund source, you can see. This is just something I just quickly did numbering last night. Okay, about 60% of our revenue comes from ticket sales. We are very, very lucky because we are very much supported by the community. Our ticket sales usually is 95%. Our box office is 95%. So why I'm sharing this is I want to encourage all of you. There is a market. There is a market. People will come, as Madam Aruna mentioned as well. Okay, so 97%, but also we tend to keep it cheap so that we can encourage more people to come. So we need to raise funds from other areas. So sponsorship, the yellow part is about 22% or 25%. These are the temples, the well-wishers, they actually give us money. So I actually go and talk to them, explain to them our mission. And advertising is something which I keep trying to grow. So we get airlines and some local people, business to advertise in our brochure. And finally, merchandise. You can see at the corner, you can see this is a T-shirt, this is a blanket, this is a folder, this is a tote bag, and this year we're selling medallion. Okay, in case you're inspired to sell things, word of caution. Last round we overdid it and end up with a lot of unsold merchandise. Okay, so it's something we are learning along the way as well. I think this year we're going for quality rather than quantity. So we are actually working harder to design it properly so that people are willing to sponsor. Okay, I think the main reason is because there is this minimalist trend now. People don't want to buy things just for the sake of buying. They rather give us money. So now we're focusing on quality for our merchandise. Okay, film curation usually we take about 1 year, and this is the reason why our activities is biannual. We do it at once every 2 years because we takes time to curate films, and it always starts the March after the festival. So March 2019, we'll go to Hong Kong because there's a Hong Kong Film Mart, and then we will talk to film producer and we start talking about Film Festival 2020, and we start throwing out that we're gonna do. If you have good movies, please send it our way. So and after that, our committee members, selection team will start first. They will, nowadays it's a lot easier through Google. So we actually go online, search all the festival and start asking for screeners to Singapore to see. Okay, so typically we have watched about 100 movies to have about 16 to 20 for consideration. So the 16, 20 movies are very good. So you can imagine what are the other 80 movies. Okay, so luckily I'm chairman, I refuse to watch them. You say you watch, okay, you just give me the short list one, all right? So usually what we'll do, because we're all working adults, so they will watch at night, etc. over weekends. So similarly at night after I come home, I put my girls to sleep, I'll open up the laptop and try to watch. Okay, sometimes I'll scold them, why are you saying such boring movie to me, this kind of thing. But anyway, that's jokes aside. So I just want to share with you that it's not so easy to get a good Buddhist film because we need to have certain criteria which we want to discuss, and also there must be interest to the general public. So this is again a list of all the films that we have screened over the years. The first round we have about 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, the first year was 10. After that, it's always been 16 movies. Okay, and you can see it came from many areas. Okay, the particular challenge that we have now is that it seems that the filmmakers are gravitating more towards Vajrayana movies. So we're actually getting a lot of entries focusing on Vajrayana tradition. But in Singapore, it's sensitive because we are supposed to represent all tradition. So we actually try hard to get movies about Mahayana, Chinese Mahayana, and Theravadan tradition. For Theravadan, it's not so bad because we always get good movies from Thailand. So that's all right. But the challenge now for us is getting good Chinese Buddhist movies. So these are issues that we face. And I'm always asking and pressurizing the committee, the selection committee, can you stop giving me Vajrayana movies? I want more. Then no, these are good, please watch it. Okay, so that's the challenge we're facing now. And okay, I move on to marketing and ticketing. Okay, you get the movie, then you need to sell it. You need to sell the movie and get the word out. Again, it have evolved over the years. We now depend a lot on social media and Facebook and WhatsApp. So this is probably the way to go. In the past, we tend to do more brochures and booklets, etc. But now we work more on social media, and we also go on road shows. So usually we divide the direct selling in 2 parts. The first half, which is in August, we'll start ticket sales in August, is we'll go to the temples and societies to share to people. And I always end our presentation with this instruction and advice. Always tell them, don't buy 1 ticket, buy 2. Why do you buy 2? Because my job is to organize the film festival. Your job is to bring a friend to watch the movie and introduce them to Buddhism. That is very clear. I'm never shy about it. And they always laugh. I say, you laugh. After you finish laughing, please buy 2. Okay? Don't buy 1 ticket. Because yes, come and enjoy the movie, but the purpose of the festival is really not for you to enjoy a movie, but for you to introduce Buddhism to someone close to you, a friend. So please buy 2 tickets, etc. And it does work because they actually bring people to watch the shows. And then in September, which once I go back to Singapore from this week and onwards, we'll be in town and we'll be in Orchard Road, and then we'll be selling to the general public to do road shows again. Okay, so these are our marketing. And the actual event, logistics, etc., is a lot of work involved. Our biggest challenge now is they come for the movie, they watch the films, okay, they are very happy. What's next? What's next? What do they do after that? So that is a big challenge for us. And we have toyed with the idea of Dharma talks, but somehow we just don't really feel that it works. But we do invite the directors to come to Singapore to talk to them and share with them the movies. And we also allow free distribution of books, and we sell Buddhist books outside. So hopefully you can pick it up and go back and read. But I think we have a lot more to do in that. And after 5 editions, we're still struggling and thinking through how we can do it better. That's basically my presentation. I will just end off with a short clip. You can see our trailer for this year. Can we screen the trailer? Technician, can we screen the trailer? Yeah. Yes, this one, the trailer. This is our trailer for 2018. Is there a sound? Okay.
Thank you. So you also mentioned the difficulty of getting Buddhist films, and I want to again revisit
Yes.
what I said earlier.
Yes.
You wanted to say something. Please go ahead.
Okay, I think one of the I think it's because Singapore is a multiracial, multi-religious society. So we try to add 1 or 2 movies that are not explicitly Buddhism. For example, this year we actually have a movie from Denmark. It's about the concept of hygge. Hygge is the Danish concept of contentment. So when we saw it, say it seems quite similar to Buddhist values. So we include it so that we want to show that it does not need to have a Buddhist label to be applicable to other people. So that was the reason why we put that movie in. And we had another film called Sacred. It features Buddhist, not Buddhist, religious and spiritual practice all over the world from different religions as well. And we actually screen it to show the similarities and also how people actually learn religion to aspire to a better life, etc. When we first started, we actually screened 1 or 2 movies that there's a Buddha statue inside, and then people struggle. They come out and say, "What's so Buddhist about it?" So we also fine tuning along the way, and I think what we're looking for is how it can actually bring us back to Buddhism, and is it educational? If after watching the movie is there scope for discussion? Is there an area where they can actually talk to their friends and then find out more about Buddhism from there? So that is currently our method in approaching film selection. Yeah.
So for almost last 12, 14 years, I was running a Buddhist group in Bombay called Dharma Rain, and we used to religiously meet, and I think religiously meet every Saturday and for discussion, meditation, and so on. And at least once a month, we would watch a film, followed by discussion. The discussion is extremely important. And maybe in a film festival, it could be replaced by some write-up in a brochure or souvenir. And I can remember at least 3 films now. I mean, trying to recollect. We saw The Matrix, the first episode, the first part. That has a lot about illusion and reality and who we really are and whether there is a self and who controls us and so on. We watched a documentary called Thank You for Smoking. It's how the PR and advertising world promotes smoking. It's an old film in the West, in the US. And also a couple of films, I think, from Star Wars. Now, Star Wars, you know the philosophy. A lot of Buddhist ideas have been injected into the script there. In fact, in 2010 or 2011, there was a census in the UK, and to the question, "What is your religion?" about 30,000 people said Jedi. They said their religion was Jedi. So there is a quote from George Lucas, who made the Star Wars film, and he says the secret to film is that it's an illusion. And someone has quoted the Buddha. I don't know, this is probably a paraphrase quotation. A wise man, recognizing that the world is but an illusion, does not act as if it is real, so he can avoid suffering. And I think the best quotation I have found is from the German poet Goethe. The highest problem of any art is to cause by appearance the illusion of a higher reality. So I think films, as you said, are in fact the most powerful medium, and they encompass all the other arts. Uh, Perhaps we go on to the third speaker, Mr. Jayantha Chandrasiri, who is from Soyanno Films, Sri Lanka. But I apologize, I do not have any further information on you. So, since I do not collect personal data, please give us a couple of words of introduction. Thank you.
Namo Buddhaya. Reverend Mahasangha, distinguished guest, dear friends. First of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee of Asian Buddhist Media Conclave for inviting me to be a part of this session. As a Sri Lankan, a filmmaker, and a member of the Sri Lankan representative team, I convey my heartfelt gratitude to you all. I consider it a huge encouragement to have one of my favorite Indian movie critic, Mrs. Aruna Vasudev, in this panel. Well, before mapping a plan of action to make Asian Buddhist filmmakers more visible in the regional media, film circuits, and festivals, I think I have something else to point out because that is not the biggest problem. I think the major issue is that Buddhist movies of high standards are not being produced. Neither Buddhist institutions, Buddhist leaders, nor Buddhists themselves show a considerable interest in the production of Buddhist movies. Most people do not give enough recognition to Buddhist movies as they do with other Buddhist art. Yes, but I'd like to mention something about the movie Yashodhara. It's the most recent movie directed by Professor Sunil Ariratna. It's a very good Buddhist film. The problem is such production are quite rare. My dear friends, in 1895, at Hotel Grand Cafe, Paris, a one reel film called Arrival of a Train at La Ciotat was screened, and this marked the beginning of a long art movement, which was after around 2 decades was established as cinema. After having evolved the several centuries since then, cinema, without a doubt, has become one of the most effective tools of communication. Over 25 centuries ago, Gautama Buddha Sasana was introduced to the world, and it has ever since been providing relief, comfort, and noble life to humanity. As we all know, there are numerous art pieces nurtured by Buddhism. These Buddhist art attract profound respect and value to Asian continent, making Buddhist teaching all pervasive and timeless. Buddhist art has not only extended its tasteful essence to the whole world, but has also greatly influenced various linguistic, cultural evolution, as well as various political methods. The state government methods of great historical figures, varying from the great Indian emperor, King Dharmasoka, to the great Sri Lankan king, Gamonu. Some people call Tutu Gamonu. Further proves this fact, friends. I am at the same time a human being leading a Buddhist way of life and an artist. In other world, I'm also a Buddhist and a modern filmmaker who draws inspiration from life. What I am about to show you is a short clip from my movie Maharaja Gamanu. It's based on the real life events of the great Buddhist king I mentioned earlier. After which, I will show you another clip from another film I made, Guerrilla Marketing. No. The first one is another one. Yeah. Oh no. There are two.
Rukkhamolagato Sunyagāragato Iti Patisañcikkati Cakkung anatta rupa anatta Sotam Iti imesu casu adhattika bahiresu ayatanisu anattanupassiyati ayam uccatananda anatta sanya
අනේ පොඩි හාමුදුරුවනේ මම ඔබ වහන්සේගෙන් දෙවෙනි වතාවටත් ඉල්ලා හිටිනවා මගේ පුතා වෙලා ඉපදෙන්න. ඔබ වහන්සේ සාමාන්‍ය කෙනෙක් නෙවෙයි. හැමෝම එපා කියද්දි අනිත් අය වෙනුවෙන් මහන්සි වෙලා වැඩ කළා. මගේ දැහිම දැක්ක ඔබ වහන්සේ ආකාශ චෛත්‍යයට තනියම ගල් අදිනවා. දෙවැනි වතාවටත් අම්මා කෙනෙක් ඔබ වහන්සේගේ භාවනාවට බාධා කරනවා. පැලහින්නක් වගේ.
Samayande Sitala Ilamayande Iritala Anyane Kandulu Salana Pita Sitarita Guve Varadasa Sivanali Rasak Mula Karamata අහසට ගොදුරා රහස් කියවූ
අවියක් වශයෙන් භාවිතා කරන සතුරපු පිළිබඳ නිවැරදි අවබෝධයක් අපි ඇති කරගන්නේ කවදාද? මෑණියනි, හුදු යුද සංවිධානයේ පමණක්ම කරමින් කෛරාටික ආක්‍රමණික සතුරාට එරෙහිව යුද නොඇද සිටීමේ පිය රජතුමාගේ රාජ්‍ය ප්‍රතිපත්තිය සමග මම යළිත් වාදනු කරමි. එහෙත් මේ මාලිගාවේ ගඩොල් බිත්ති මා අතරත් පවත්නා වෙනස කුමක්ද? මම රජ මාලිගයෙන්ද රජ සැපෙන්ද පලා යමි.
මේක අල්ලගනින්.
යකෝ මෙහෙම මේ භික්ෂුන් සමග කිසිවක් කරන්න බෑ. ඔවුන් අපේ පිඹුරුපත් අවුල් කරනවා.
මොකද මේ?
නෑ මං අහන්නේ දෙබෑයන්ගේ යුද්ධේ වළක්වන්න මේ භික්ෂුන්ට තියෙන රුදාව මොකක්ද? තම තාම සාකච්ඡා කරන්න පිළිනු එක්කද?
අලුත් තත්ත්වයට වඩා හුඟක් වෙනස්.
No. Another clip. Yeah, that's it.
එතකොට පින්වත්නි, සීනය දකිනකොට ඒක බොරුවක් කියලා අපට හිතෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේ ඇත්ත ජීවිතේ වගේම රූප, ශබ්ද, ගන්ධ, රස, ස්පර්ශ මේවට අදාළ හැම ඉන්ද්‍රියක්ම සීනයකදී ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා.
සත්‍යයක් ඇවි. ඊපස්සේ කිසිම හීනයක් නොපෙනෙන එමොන් වගේ හොරෝ රසම රස නින්ද පිවිත් ඔරාගනේවි. අන්න ඒකයි මරණය කියන්නේ. බබනවාද මිනිහ මරණය ගැන දන්නේ? තව ටික වෙලාවකින් විශාල සත්‍යයක් ඇවි. ඊපස්සේ
දැන් බලන්න පින්වත්නි, මේ මානසික නිර්මාණය කොයිතරම් සූක්ෂමද? නමුත් පින්වත්නි, ඒක ඇත්ත නෙමෙයි. එතකොට පින්වත්නි, අපි මේ දැන් දකින්නේ සීනයක් නෙවෙයි කියන්න පුළුවන් කාට. මේක තමයි කෙලෙස්නි. කෙලෙස්නි. මේකෙන් ඈරෙන්න පුළුවන් වුණොත් මේ ලෝකය කොයිතරම් මායාවක්ද කොයිතරම් බොරුවක්ද කියලා අපිට තේරුම් ගන්නට පුළුවන්.
Anjita buta kiti kiti taka taki tondongi tampuku 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 jinda buta kina kina taka taki tondongi angit angit taka kita Jinkunda gajin dohara gajin 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 kunda gajin jiji kunda gajin dohara gajin 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 kunda gajin.
Thank you. I'm sorry, the first movie has not appeared in subtitle. This first movie won a lot of awards locally and was also declared the highest earning film of the year 2016. It takes about how a king, well fed and nurtured with Buddhist principles and values, treated his subjects the way he looked at his friends and enemies. In the second film, we can observe how the Buddhists react the modern globalization. By this, I am not suggesting that we should make movies about Buddhist rulers. In order to form an Asian Buddhist media conclave, I am merely trying to highlight how the modern day audience in attract and attach to the Buddhist values embodied in these historical characters. The Four Noble Truths of Chaturari Satya comprise the essence of Buddha's teaching. Dukkha Satya, truth of suffering; Samudaya Satya, truth of the cause of suffering; Nirodha Satya, truth of the end of suffering; Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada Satya, the truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. Making the message understand this truth or attain enlightenment is not cause mean by filmmakers. Understanding that, but I also know that the art can be an effective tool of great help for the great arahats, preparing people for the ultimate knowledge. This service, carried out for centuries by Buddhist art, is how, according to me, the responsibility of cinema. Asian Buddhist media conclave could be an ideal ground to fulfill this purpose. I'd also like to make this an opportunity to propose 3 suggestions that I think would benefit the entire world by way of great entertainment. First, my first suggestion is to establish a fund for Buddhist movies makers in India, Sri Lanka, China, Nepal, Japan, and other Asian countries. Secondly, I suggest that the fund be handled through a committee that would select movie scripts and directors suitable for future productions. Thirdly, I think a program should be implemented at least between the Buddhist countries to share this cinematic experience with each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Just one last comment. You did mention about other Buddhist arts and film. Now, one connection between Madam Aruna and myself is that both of us are to some extent students of Longzak Khyentse Rinpoche, who is the only Tulku, that is the reincarnate Lama, who is a filmmaker and who makes art films and popular films which are shown in international film festivals. So sometimes he has been asked about his role as a filmmaker. And he is actually supposed to be the reincarnation of Jamyang Khyentse Choki Lodro, who died in 1959. And Jamyang Khyentse Choki Lodro was absolutely interested in Indian art, culture, painting. He was, I think, also a Thangka painter. And if you have seen Tibetan Thangkas and murals in the temples, they are exquisite with intricate design. Everyone must have seen them. And Rinpoche has often said that films are like modern day Thangkas. And just with that note, we conclude this session. There have been very good ideas. Your idea of fundraising, it will have to be some committee. That committee will have to be registered to be equipped to take foreign funds from whichever country you are, wherever you set it up. And then that could grow into something much bigger. Even if we start initially with screening films and collecting and archiving films before we get into actual production, I think that would be an excellent move. Thank you very much for your patience. I think we have finished in 1 hour, but not on time, but in 1 hour. Thank you. We are thinking of having a sort of film.
I thank our session panelists for a highly engaging session. We will now break for lunch and